atrocities are the effects of illicit arms. To pull the brakes on such dehumanization and destruction is what necessitated the United Nations UN categorization of weapons.
Small arms, for instance, are weapons that can be used by one individual. So you have the category of guns, pistols, double-barrel guns, whereas light weapons are those that are used by more than one person, at most 3 and at least 2. The anti-tank missiles, those that need to be used with the help of a second or third party. And so if you see a weapon being fired from, let's say, a 4x4 vehicle, aiming at a specific target, you would often notice that there may be a second crew member feeding the weapon with the ammunition. So those ones are referred to as small light weapons.
The spread of these illicit arms remains a major source of concern to governments across the globe. This is because it wreaks needless human deaths and suffering, especially among women and children, and also derails development and destabilizes societies. In Ghana, the same holds true, with most of the tribal conflicts blamed on these illicit arms and light weapons. For this reason, in 2005, the National Commission on Small Arms and Light Weapons, NACSA, was administratively established with a legal entity in 2007. NACSA envisions to contributing towards the building of peace and security in Ghana by effective control of small arms and light weapons and related materials. The Commission also exists to prevent and combat the proliferation of small arms and light weapons and related materials in the country through advocacy, public sensitization, and formulation of appropriate policies in close collaboration with stakeholders.
We target border communities in this day and age because of the obvious reasons and because of the fact that you have a lot of insurgents activities around our borders, and the push toward the southern part of Sahel, is making it even the more imperative for us to concentrate on the borders. That is not to say that the general public, will be taken out, but the concentration and the focus, is going to be a lot more on the border communities. Currently, what we are doing with Cote d'Ivoire and Burkina Faso, as well as Ghana now, is to have a cross-border collaboration, with them. And as part of that, we are setting up, with the support of our partners from Germany, to have a border community or cross-border project where we have border posts, put men in, and also have some form of technology to aid, the security agencies in terms of what is coming in, the illicit flow of weapons. But importantly, you are also to have similar activity taking place across the border, which also will help in the sharing of information as to, what is coming in and what they have, what they see, what we should be looking out for.
Over the period, NACSA has organized weapons destruction exercises in the Volta, Greater Accra, Ashanti, and Western regions. So far, 7 of such exercises have been held, which is used to draw attention of the general public to the menace of illicit trade in small arms and light weapons. As of 2021, statistics showed about 1.2 million unregistered firearms and light weapons in circulation in the country.
The records say that we had about 2.3 million weapons, and out of which 1.1 were illegal. In effect, it was just 2.2 gun owners who were authorized to own guns. That's 6 years down the line. every 10 years, we are supposed, all things being equal, to do a new baseline survey. So the figures we are discussing are actually not the reality on the ground.
The good news, however, is that the law allows the public to own a gun, but then must go through the proper channel.
First of all, you must be clean of any criminal record. You mustn't have criminal record. 2, you must be physically fit to handle the weapon you require. And also, you should be of a sound mind. When you clear these 3 important hurdles, you also have a number of hurdles to still clear. The question is, are you financially capable? Are you financially self-sustaining? If you are unemployed and everybody knows you are unemployed and you want a weapon, how are you going to acquire it? And for what purpose? That will be left with you and the police to iron out. And also, where you store the weapon is a big issue. Yes, you have the means, you are mentally okay, you are physically okay, and the question is, where will you store it to keep it out of harm's way?
What should one who expresses interest in acquiring a weapon do?
The first place you want to check with is the police, and they will take you through the requirements. And if you say yes, yes, yes to all of them, they would still have to do their own due diligence to make sure that, yes, you are of sound mind, you don't have any criminal record, you answer to all the questions above. And then you are ready to go. But of course, you need to acquire it legally. So you can only acquire a weapon from an authorized, licensed arms dealer. But there are also certain category of weapons that our Ghanaian arms dealers are not allowed to sell. They don't have the authority to sell them, for instance, pistols and so on. So if you need to have one, then you have to apply to the Minister for the Interior, who will give you the nod, and then that's the permit. And then you go through all the processes again. You import with an import license, and then you would also have to clear it with the necessary custom duty and start going through the process of registration.
Next comes the issuing of license.
The permit is only for 6 months. It's not renewable. So if you get the permit and you are not able to utilize it within 6 months, you have to join the queue. I'm talking of the weapons that you need to import, the pistols and revolvers and so on. So even the local, those that you can acquire from local dealers, the permit is only for 6 months, okay? If you don't utilize the permit within 6 months, then you have to apply for a new permit, okay? And then you would register your gun if you eventually acquire it from the police arms registry. And a license lasts for a duration of 1 year. It expires on 31st December every year. So there may be people in the system who have acquired weapons legally, but because they haven't gone back to renew, they have become illegal. 31st December, you have to renew.
Even if I buy in November?
Even if you buy in November. Even if you buy on 30th December. That's what the law says.
Can a weapon be inherited from a licensed owner?
A gun is transferable, but it's not inheritable. For instance, your dad had a weapon and he decides to give it to you. you have to go through.
Back.
Yeah, you have to go back. Get a permit. Do the security screening. Okay? And then you can be qualified to take the gun, which becomes yours, or you can be disqualified. The law says that when you are 18 and above, you can go through the process.
Due to the porous nature of the country's borders, as well as the current unrest in the sub-region, the Commission is upping its game at all fronts. In August 2022, the Commission signed a Memorandum of Understanding with the Ghana Broadcasting Corporation (GBC) to help with the dissemination of information with the dangers and effects associated with the proliferation and misuse of small arms.
Our quest to achieve a gun-free society would be impossible without the support of a state-owned media as a stakeholder, which has the largest network of radio and television stations with the widest coverage and broadcast in many local languages across our country. GBC has been tried and tested, and your accuracy and authenticity is unmatched in the country. The beauty of this partnership between GBC and the National Commission is that it will provide a reliable information to the public in all the regions of our country.
I sincerely believe that when we work together, we should be able to get the necessary assistance, because the threat of insecurity is real. It's so real that if you even read the basic literature from the sub-region, you will feel it. You will feel how close we are to danger. So when we package our message well and knock at the right doors, they will be opened for us to finance our activity. And that is all that collaboration is about. And I think that together, GBC and NACSA can work together and do it.
In times past, attention was on artisans who locally manufacture guns. However, today, arms proliferation has become a cross-border, cross-national, and cross-continental issue and more. But the Commission says recent happenings suggest otherwise.
Now we see more of the foreign-made weapons, in crime scene. Oh yes, that's what the truth is. And the little we know is that these are coming mainly from, countries around us because of the obvious issues from Libya, which now has become a very thorny issue now. And so Libya through Niger, Mali, Burkina Faso. Then we have Cote d'Ivoire, which is also, another case on our hands because of the obvious challenges they had some years back. So these are issues we have to deal with. Then again, you also have our own compatriots who may be coming into Ghana from the US and Europe, who are bringing in some of these weapons, sometimes through the port. The one that is becoming challenging now to deal with is the issue of what they call gas pistols. Like the athletics, when they are doing the Commonwealth, you see what they fire. They are supposed to just make noise without firing, live ammunition. And because of that, they are not controlled in the countries where they come from because they are not lethal there. Once those weapons get here, our blacksmiths are able to convert them to fire ammunition, and then they become a danger to society. Another danger is the issue of mining explosives, commercial explosives, which are used in the manufacture of IEDs or improvised explosive devices. And so we need to be very careful about, what goes out. And then so we need to caution companies who import this into the country to tighten their security in terms of issuing and protecting these commercial explosives so that they don't get into the hands of criminals.
Some also blame the situation on employment.
You cannot use that to justify an illegality, because it will be like somebody who is stealing and saying that I don't have a job, that's why I'm stealing. They have other things that they do as blacksmiths. We all know they manufacture these agricultural implements, these household items. That is what will urge them to continue to do.
Largely, we cannot say that unemployment is responsible for the importation of weapons into our country, because you need a lot of money to be able to import those weapons, to acquire them.
What does the law say about offenders?
We have two laws that deals with the penal sanctions as we speak. We have the Arms and Ammunition Act, which can land you into jail for 5 years, or you may pay a penalty of 1,000 penalty units. When you convert it into cedis, that comes to 12,000 Ghana cedis. Or the judge can decide to apply both. So he can ask you to pay something and also go in for 5 years. Or we have the one also that the criminal code, gives, which makes it a first-degree felony. What that means is that you can go in for as many as 25 years and a minimum of 5 years. So, and I'm not sure any Ghanaian with good intentions is willing to play, that kind of game.
The 1962 gun law is indeed an outmoded one. What can be done about it?
Remember, in 1962, the dynamics were completely different. Today, we are more of a sub-regional player than just an individual independent country. And we were about 4 million, right? Or 6 million. Today, how many million people do we have? We need to renew. We need to review the current reality of our situation and renew the law accordingly.
There are others who have said that, why don't you regularize this local manufacture so that they can manufacture and even government can get some taxes from them and all that. That is a good idea, but we will have to review the law and look at how we go about that. Because all over the world, where arms are manufactured, there are rules and regulations governing these things. So in the first place, we know how our blacksmiths operate. They are scattered all over, and the kind of shirts they even operate from. It is difficult, and it is also a security threat if you are to allow them to manufacture weapons the way they do now. So what it means is that we will have to sit down, look at the modalities, and make sure that these weapons are manufactured in a company, a manufacturing company, even if they are not the big firms, or what we describe as cottage industries. We must make sure that they manufacture in such a setting where they have all the security guidelines to make sure that after manufacturing, it will not be easy for anybody to just break in and steal these weapons. Then they will also have to inscribe markings on these weapons. And what it will also mean is that anybody who wants to acquire their weapons, of course, will still have to go through the legal process. And then upon obtaining a permit from the police, they can walk to their firm and purchase the weapon, which will be properly recorded. And then they can bring it and register it.
Has the Commission any challenges?
Top on the list would be the limited resources that the country has to share among the numerous agencies. Okay, and so we don't have enough, but with the little that we get, we have to use that creatively in addressing our mandate.
What is the way forward?
All blacksmiths who are also manufacturing these weapons, we want to urge them to put a stop to it. We urge all those who are also buying from these blacksmiths to put a stop to it, because when the law gets you, you will be dealt with.
Irrespective of which side of the political divide you are on, irrespective of which side of the ethnic divide you are on, or even the professional divide, we all have to put our hands to the wheel and then work to protect our community, to protect our individual selves, our properties. And we don't have any other Ghana. We are a blessed nation. We have to make sure that we appreciate the fact that we have a peace that must be protected. And we can only protect that effectively if we help in rooting out criminal elements who want to use illicit weapons to disturb our peace. One illegal weapon in the hands of a criminal-minded individual is a danger to our community. Our expectation from this commission is for the public to respond positively to the fact that we all need to work together to promote our own security. And this call is stronger now than ever before, because we have been hearing of all these unrests, insurgencies around our country. Even if we go onto our streets, we would see that the impact is being felt indirectly. There are refugees. We won't call them refugees, but they have found their way to the safer grounds of Ghana. But it's our duty to ensure that the population is well protected. And so I go back to the call of the national security. When you see something, say something.
The Ghana National Commission on Small Arms and Light Weapons is therefore calling on all peace-loving citizens to partner in the fight against the spread of small arms and light weapons in the country.